When you are unable to reach the Lord's sanctuary, Jesus comes to your home. He knows your desire. Never miss the Eucharistic celebration again. Join Holy Mass daily on your Shalom World.
Hello and welcome to a time of excitement and inspiration. I am Manoj Sunny, and together with Shalom World, we'll take you through the journeys of a group of ordinary people in the Jesus Youth Movement who dared to follow an extraordinary call as a part of the full-time volunteer project. A project that has been instilling the missionary lifestyle in young people for the last 28 years. A project that has put 28 batches of young people, around 2,000 so far, through a 30-day intensive training and placing them in mission centers around the world for a whole year. And that's exactly why they're called God's crazy people. Today, we have a very young person joining us all the way from UK, the only son of Cyril and Josephine Colaco, who decided to set apart 1 year fully for the Lord and attended the International Full-Time Volunteers Training in Thailand in 2016 and was placed in Uganda. He is presently pursuing his second year philosophy studies in Dharmaram Vidya Kshetram Seminary in Bangalore in India. Let us welcome Chris Colaco from London, UK. Chris, a hearty welcome.
Thank you, dear Manoj. It is indeed a privilege and such a pleasure to being here. Thank you for having me.
Chris, you were into music production and you were a DJ back in London. I remember meeting you almost a decade back. You used to wear a huge over-the-ear headphone day in and day out. And it seemed to be like that was part of your body. But now you're in a seminary now. How did this journey begin? And what was your moment of encounter with the Lord?
So we as a family migrated to London in 2005, and I was in year 8 by then. And so I was into music because music was my passion, and I always, as you said, I was wearing headphones because it was always in my blood, like you can say. So I was always into music, and I slowly got into music production and DJing until in 2010, where one of my friend invited me for a football match. Of course, I was good at football, so I dressed up with my jersey and my boots, and I went right into a prayer meeting. So you can say it was a trap, but for me it was God's providence for me to be there at that time. And as I went to the prayer meeting, a couple of leaders from the Jesus Youth were present, and they invited me for a retreat, which was maybe 4 or 5 months down the line. So as I attended that retreat, I was still a naughty kid. But on the third day, there was adoration. And during that adoration, I clearly remember the person who was leading praise and worship asking us to surrender our lives. And I just closed my eyes, started weeping weeping very deeply. And it was at this moment that I had a very small vision of me lonely in an island, and a person who was dressed in white slowly came and held up my hand and started to walk with me. And as I opened my eyes, it was the Blessed Sacrament in front of me. And at that moment, it was just a very joyful and peaceful experience that I had in my life. Of course, it was at this point I realized that our God is living, that Jesus Christ is not just an ideology up there, but he's a living person who just gave me this peace and this joy within me. So it was at this point where I started to say that there is someone there who loves me and there is someone there who looks after me.
Chris, what made you to take a decision? Like, What motivated you to take a decision to give 1 year to Jesus?
I had a couple of my friends who were already full timers. So by this time, I was 5 years into the movement. And they used to share their stories of how the Lord healed them or touched them or guided them in their mission places. So I guess I never wanted to be a full timer, but at the same time, I was discerning my vocation. So after speaking to my elders, they also suggested while praying that it's good enough for me to take a step into full timership. So even though I didn't like full timership, right now I believe that it's planned for me to take that 1 year of commitment.
Because you were placed in Uganda for the commitment year, and especially in a tribal village near the border of Congo. What was your experience in Uganda?
Yeah, initially it was very difficult for me because the things that we take for granted in UK is something that is a necessary thing in Uganda. So, water supply, for example, we turn on the taps in UK and we get water, whereas in Uganda we haven't seen taps. I mean, I haven't seen taps while living in my place. So usually, what happens is there are some people who work in the parish. They usually go early in the morning to fetch some water with some cans, and we use this for throughout the day. So they go the next morning to get water. So things like this, food, for example, there was a lot of scarcity for food. There was a lot of scarcity for electricity. So these were some of the things that were challenging for me. It was difficult to get adjusted, but I knew that the Lord wanted me to go through this kind of experience for something greater. And I was really blessed to have a chapel across my room. So I used to go and spend a lot of time in front of the Blessed Sacrament. This was the place where I could vent out my frustrations. I could be free with the Lord. So this chapel was truly a blessing for me for the whole year there.
Praise God, Chris. Okay, thank you for this beautiful sharing. So before we continue with further sharing, I have a surprise for you. Joining us now, Sergeant Raphael, one of the senior leaders of the Jesus Youth Movement. He is married to Princey and they have 6 children. After working in Saudi Arabia for 19 years in the finance sector, they decided to resign and move to Uganda as the family for mission. They were in Uganda for 3 years, and Sergeant accompanied Chris during his time of commitment in Uganda. Sergeant Raphael.
Hi, Chris Colaco, our innocent, charming, smart person. One experience I remember during your full-timership is that you were placed in an interior village in a parish. From there, you give me a call and told me that you are planning to refrain from social media. And that time you were using to spend in social media, you are going to spend with the Lord in adoration. Second experience I remember is that you asked me a question. Is it possible to become a holy priest? I smiled and replied to you, yes, it is possible, but only through the grace of God. But this question allowed me to reflect a lot of myself. How much holy am I? And I decided to strive to become more holy. But this question, I could understand that by asking this question, how much desire you have to become holy, to be very holy. You have a great will towards Jesus and to learn more word of God and towards also you are asking many questions for the church, about the church, and that too reminds me that you had a lot of desire to know about the church, the word of God, and that has touched me and inspired me personally. Share me one of the struggle which you have gone through and how could you overcome that?
Thank you, Sergeant. Chris, it seems like you had a deep influence on your mentor. So, his question about your struggle, the struggle you faced in Uganda.
As I shared earlier, the water was one of the biggest eye-opener. There was a scarcity of water. A fun fact would be that I think there was a point where I couldn't have shower for around 12, 13 days. Not because I didn't want to, but because there was no water. So it was a struggle in the sense where something that was readily available in the West is something that we have to kind of pray for, or we have to kind of depend on someone else for. The other thing was I was always used to traveling around in the West using my own car or public transport or whatever. But there was no luxury of things of those sort in Uganda, especially in my mission place. Uh, I used to walk, and there were no vehicles because it was a hilly area. It always used to be on foot. And so I used to go from one mission station to the other mission station to speak to youngsters. And so the parish priest there used to advise me to carry a bottle of water. So by the time I leave my mission place and go to another mission station, I would have finished my bottle of water. And I used to come running back, with a lot of thirst. But I used to feel that in the initial months that I was not able to do it. But slowly I realized there was a beauty in it. One was the exercise part of it, and the second was there was something that was driving me to go to these mission stations. And I think it was definitely a thirst to spread the Lord's word and to be with youngsters. So that was what used to motivate me to climb those hills and mountains very quickly.
Could you please share some memorable experience, some beautiful experience you had in Uganda?
In our parish, there always used to be youngsters, and I would just go out and sit with them and speak with them. And so, as time went by, they were ready to kind of take me out into different mission stations. And so, I used to take a few of them and climb these hills and mountains and go to another mission station, and then take a few youngsters and go to another mission station. So, this moment was so beautiful because here I was able to share my life, and I was able to listen from their life, their perspective, what church meant for them, and their spirituality. So this was such a beautiful experience for me because I used to think missionary means going somewhere and doing something. But here in Uganda, I realized that it's not all about going and doing something, but going to a place and maybe learning from what they have, learning their spirituality, their culture. And I learned a lot, to be really honest.
You are in the seminary now. You started your formation for priesthood. How did you discern your vocation for priesthood?
If I look back into my life, the many things I didn't want to do, the Lord somehow says, yes, you're going to do it. In terms of full-timership, I didn't want to do it. In terms of being in faith, I didn't want to. And priesthood, it's the same thing. I never wanted to be a priest when I was young. I wanted to have a life in music, maybe be a music producer or a sound engineer or some sort of something attached with music. But as I was involved in the movement, after a couple of years, I think in 2013, I used to regularly go and sit in front of the Blessed Sacrament. And it was at this one point where the Lord strongly inspired me and put a thought in me saying, why not priesthood? I had no idea of what priesthood is like, what it's about. And so I slowly started to think that it's just my thinking and slowly tried to refute that thought. But it just grew stronger and stronger. And I couldn't purposely, I couldn't remove that thought from my head. But as time went on, I got a spiritual director and I sat with him. And slowly it came to a point where I had to take a decision. And I said, if this is from the Lord, it would remain and grow stronger. And it did. And in 2015, I said yes for priesthood. And it was a crazy decision because I had to think from all aspects of my life. I'm the only child. And so who would look after my parents? Or what congregation I would go into, So these were many questions that I had in mind. Even today, I still ponder upon it. But one thing that's very constant is the one who's called me would never leave me. The Lord's called me for priesthood, and so he'll never leave my parents too. So I've finally let go of everything that I used to worry about. Not that I don't have worries now, but somehow I'm able to leave it to the Lord to help and surrender to the Lord so that He may use me as His instrument.
And why Jesus Youth Priesthood? Why did you opt for Jesus Youth Priesthood?
I was discerning with a few congregations, and then towards the end, I had an option. I mean, I had to choose between, I filtered down between the Franciscan Friars of the Renewal and Jesus Youth. And both these congregations were good, and it's something that I wanted to maybe be involved in. But, as my spiritual director used to share, you can't choose two wives, only one can be your wife. And so I had to discern deeper, and I realized that Jesus Youth was the movement which helped me encounter the Lord in a very special way. It was Jesus Youth who helped me to understand more about spirituality. It was a movement which helped a lot of youngsters. And also, I believe in the vision that the movement has, in the spirituality that it has. And I also wanted to live this life as a Jesus Youth, but as a priest. And so I took a decision to opt for Jesus Youth priesthood so that I may serve youngsters, be with youngsters, and live as a Jesus Youth.
Chris, it was such a joy to have you with us today. Your sharing has been so inspirational. May the Lord rain down His graces on you as you continue your formation to become a holy priest. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Manoj, for having me here. Thank you.
We are talking about a special call, and we are all set to meet a special person who can shed more light on this journey. So here is a special guest for the day, Father Aji Jacob Mule Parabil CMI from Germany. He was active in the campus ministry during his university days in Kerala, and he discerned his vocation through the movement. In 1994, he became the first seminarian in the history of the movement to attend the full-timers training, and he took 1-year commitment as a regent brother. He was also the chaplain of the international full-timers trainings for several years. He has been in Germany for the last 20 years and serves as the parish priest of St. Anna Church in Münster Diocese and also the national chaplain of the Jesus Youth Movement in Germany. Father Aji Muleparambil.
When I look back after 22 years of my ordained life, I can say with surety that the Jesus Youth Full-Timers Fellowship has hugely served to shape and guide my vocation. Last year, we, the third batch full-timers in Jesus Youth, completed 25 years of this fellowship. We were able to reach out to all 32 of us from among 34 who were there in the training. We were also able to organize a gathering which was immensely inspiring. After the gathering, for the past 1 year, we were able to support each other with an active prayer life using various online media. The fellowship, which continues after 25 years, has greatly helped us to strengthen our own call for missionary life at the service of the church, and also to support and encourage each other in it. It has also helped the families, especially the children, to grow and develop with an awareness to the very unique call for a life of selfless service for Jesus and His church. So I can say with a deep conviction that this program of full-timership in Jesus Youth is profoundly beneficial and influential in shaping a life of service in Jesus. It is hugely fruitful in shaping young adults to find their way in Jesus. I'm greatly thankful to the Lord for having given me the opportunity of this fellowship, which has without any doubt laid a solid foundation and given a definite direction for my pastoral life especially my pastoral life in Germany.
Thank you, Father Aji, for that beautiful sharing. I was reminded of a concern shared by Pope Francis about the lives of young people in Christus Vivit. He said, "It is impossible for us to grow unless we have strong roots to support us and to keep us firmly grounded. It is easy to drift off when there is nothing to clutch on to hold on to." I believe this is one of the strengths of the full-timers training. Father Aji's batch took a commitment 26 years back, but they still come together to support each other, to pray for each other, and encourage each other to continue their missionary life wherever they are planted. They decided to read the Bible together, from Genesis to Revelation online, taking time slots among themselves, and they did it as their family without any break. As Father shared, this has become a great blessing for the whole family, especially for their children. This is one of the best examples of a journey that continues as a community, even after 25 years, connecting from different parts of the world, clutching on to and holding on to one another. So that's it for today, friends. Let's keep each other in prayer and stay crazy for God until we meet again next week for the same program on Shalom World. For more exciting contents, watch shalomworld.org and download the free apps of Shalom World on your iOS and Android devices. Thank you.
For over 25 years, young men and women have set out across borders to share God's love.
Side, whatever you plan, whatever you do,
give your best to God.
But who are ready to give Him everything.
It is a gift to the Catholic Church.
Your only true identity is that you are the children of God.
I've actually gained an eternal treasure.
Don't be afraid to do these things.
Dare to follow an extraordinary call.
Now it's your turn. If you are a young student or professional and dare to set apart in year, it could change the lives of many, including yours. Be an International Jesus Youth Mission volunteer. Contact us right away.
Are you looking for life-changing entertainment? Does what you see on most channels leave you feeling unfulfilled? Well, look no further. Shalom World TV brings the peace and joy of Jesus Christ to you, whether at home or on the go. To start watching, you don't need antennas, cable connections, or a dish. You probably already have what you need if you have a smart TV, such as a Samsung, LG, or Panasonic, or if you have one with an Android, Opera, or Roku TV operating system. These can be found on the latest models of Sony, Toshiba, Vizio, Philips, RCA, Sharp Aquos, TCL, Insignia, Element, Hitachi, Vestal, Skyworth, Changhong, Konka, and Hisense. You can also watch Shalom TV on most IPTV streaming devices, starting with the 4th generation of Apple TV and Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Mi Box, Amino, Humax, or on TiVo Box through the Opera TV store. Are you a gamer or virtual reality enthusiast? We've got you covered. Shalom World is on Xbox One, Razer Forge, NVIDIA Shield, and HoloLens. To start watching, all you have to do is go to the App Store, download Shalom World, and start being fulfilled by content that brings you into a deeper relationship with Jesus Christ. For more information on how to watch Shalom World on your TVs and devices, visit us at shalomworld.org/connectedtv. Have a smartphone or tablet? Take Shalom with you wherever you go. Again, by downloading Shalom World from the App Store. If you prefer to watch from your Mac or PC, get the Shalom World desktop app. Or you can always watch from our website, shalomworld.org. And guess what? Shalom World is absolutely free on all of these platforms. Yes, free. There are no download charges and no in-store app purchases required, ever. If you're looking for life-changing entertainment, you found it. It's here, waiting for you on your Shalom World.